So let's dig a little deeper into this whole concept of what I call the effects of a poor roll. As you take a look here, one of the things that we have with the putting robot, the sweet roll, is that the ball rolls perfectly end over end. And it is absolutely predictable. So when I put the ball on the rail on the red dot or green dot and I roll it, it rolls exactly the same distance every time. So in this little experiment that you and I are doing, we know that we can set a benchmark, put a ball on there, roll it down, and wherever it ends up is the distance. So that's a good thing to have. It's hard to do that any other way. But let's take a look at what happens when we change the roll. So we're going to start it on the same dot every single time, but we're going to do some unusual things because we know that the effects that side spin has, we have a general idea, but now we can literally quantify it for ourselves, and we can quantify it for our students so that they can see kind of what happens. So here's what we have, and don't freak out, I get the implications of this, but we're going to put a ball on the same dot, and we're going to put some side spin on it. Now, the variable, obviously, is how much side spin I can put on it. I can't be consistent with that, but you're going to get the general idea. And here's what happens. The ball sort of skids its way down the sweet roll, and if you were to watch it in slow motion, you would see that by the time it gets to the end of the insert, it's going to begin to roll end over end. But what has happened is very much like what happens with a putter, is that the ball comes off with side spin. You'll notice that when it comes off the rail here, it's gonna jump to the side a little bit, which is what happens when the ball stops skidding. The traction is gonna spin it offline, no question about it. But then what happens is absolutely unpredictable. Does the ball roll? Does it catch the grass tops? Does it begin to roll end over end? Does it continue to roll a little bit side? Does it skid? Does it, in some cases, does it hop? We can now show, here's what happens with side spin. And what you can see here is that it comes up considerably shorter on this 20-foot putt. It's just shorter and unpredictable. The same thing happens in a different degree if we have backspin on the ball. Now, how do we get backspin on the ball? Well, we can be catching it high on the ball, low on the face, and put backspin on it. Literally, the ball will fly 6 or 8 inches before it lands with backspin. And you've seen those where it lands, it's got backspin, it skids for a while, and then it begins to grab. Well, that's kind of what happens with the sweet roll rail as well, is that the backspin will literally just let it slide down the rail to a certain point, it'll grab and begin to roll end over end. And what you and I see pretty easily is that it's not so much the skidding, it's that it's completely unpredictable. If I could put backspin on it every single time, on the same grass surface every time, it would be predictable. I can't do it. The surface is not the same every single time, but we know that backspin causes it to skid. It's unpredictable when it grabs what's going to happen, and you see the result is it comes up much shorter. Roughly the same as if there's side spin. The other one that is fascinating to me is when we put topspin on the ball. And you've heard that, or I've heard it a long time, is that, boy, those old putters, that Bobby Locke with the Calamity Jane putter, he used to put so much topspin on it. He would hook it. Exactly, he would hook it. And here's what happens. Does the ball roll better? Oh, no question about it. If you got to make an error with side spin, topspin, or backspin, make it with topspin. The problem is it is unpredictable. How much topspin do I put on it? Where on the ball did I catch it? Did I catch it in the median, high, low in the face? It will roll better, it will grab the ground better, and it is more predictable, but it is not as predictable as a ball that's struck properly, center of the face, rolls head on. The grass is predictable. Everything is predictable to that. So the thing that we have that we can see is the distance the ball rolls, short for side spin, short for backspin, longer for topspin. But more than anything, we know that it's unpredictable. And when it comes to teaching with this method, what we're trying to do is convince our students, give them a new mental model. The goal is to get the ball to roll end over end with no side spin. End over end. If it's got a little topspin, that's better because we're going to catch it slightly on the rise angle of the putter. But that's what makes it roll better. That's what makes it predictable. And obviously then, if it's a predictable roll, then it's also a predictable break. Great lesson.